In the 62nd chapter, Parak Samuk Bet, we pointed out how one of the key words was the word sur, rock, over and over again. Didn't specify where David was. But here in the next chapter, maybe that's why they're one next to the other, Mizmor LeDavid, Bioto B'Midbar Yehuda, Psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Yehuda. So think, it's not quite the desert, the wilderness of Yehuda. It's closer to Jerusalem and other places where we know that it's more, coming from Colorado, I know that I can say mountainous, but we'll say mountainous. And there are all sorts of rocks and crags, etc., etc. So it could be similar to the last chapter in that way. Let's look at the chapter. Elohim, Eli, ata ashacharecha, tzam'a lecha nafshi, kama lecha visari, be'eretz tzia va'ayef beli mayim. God, you are my God. I search for you. My soul thirsts for you. My body yearns for you, as a parched and thirsty land that has no water. We have these words, Sama lecha nafshi, which songs, a lot of Hasidic songs. The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught a song that has this, as well as different ones. This idea, it's very much expressed in sort of late 16th century Tzfat, this idea of yearning for God, that my soul thirsts for you, God. And so David here is expressing, it's not surprising he's thirsting if he's in the wilderness. It doesn't necessarily mean the desert, but he's not in the city with the wells and things like that. But right, so he's parched, he's thirsty, like a land that has no water. He feels very much far away from God. And so he continues, and Charlotte will continue. So he continues, verse 3, Cain, B'kodesh chiziticha, lirot uzcha uchvodecha. Right, so what am I thirsting for? I'm thirsting to be in the place that's Kodesh, in the place that's holy, to see your might, to see your glory. I am physically distant. I am emotionally distant. Ki tov chastecha mechayim, sifatai yeshab chuncha. Because your faithfulness or your kindness is better than life, and my lips will declare your praise. We know the word, of course, the prayer Yishtabach. All comes here. We have Yishab Chuncha, which is from the same shorish. It all comes from the word Shevach, which means to praise. And so David is here. He's distant. He's far away, but he's ready to come back. Kain avarechecha v'chayai b'shimcha esa chapai. I will bless you all of my life. I lift up my hands and call out in your names. K'mo chelev v'adeshen tispa nafshi v'siftei rinanot yehalel pi. I am full, I am sated, right? So I'm sated with rich things, with chelev and deshen, and I'll sing the praises with joyful lips. Im zicharticha al yitzuai be'ashmurot hege bach. When I call to you, right, I'm in my bed, I'm lying down, and I call out to you, God. When I think of you in the middle of the night. So, right, here, the night does not always necessarily mean night. It means times of darkness, times of difficulty, lack of light. And so the idea of him calling out to God at night, a time that he's anxious and he's worried and he's nervous. But what does he know? Ki hayita ezratali uvetzel kinafecha aranen. For you help me. You are my Ezra. And in the shadow of your wings, I will shout for joy. I will sing. Davka nafshi acharecha bi tamcha yeminecha. My soul is attached to you. Your right hand supports me. And here we've had in the past where David talks about having to be somech, having to rely upon God, and you can't do things on your own. And here we have the opening word of this verse, davka dveikut, the idea of clinging. There's an idea of clinging to God. That's a devek in modern Hebrew, means glue. It's the idea of clinging, the idea of being close to God. For some, for mystics, this is what religion's all about, to try to come close, to try to come in contact, to be constantly bidveikut with God, clinging to God. And so here, even though David's in the midbar, and even though he's far away, and even though he feels thirsty, he's thirsting for water, like somebody who's who's distant, his soul still attaches to God. Vehema, we're in verse 10, pasuk Yud, Sho'a yivakshu nafshi, yavou b'tachtiot haaretz. May those who seek to destroy my life enter the depths of the earth. And here we have up to this point in this chapter, we haven't had any allusions to these enemies that he often talks about. But of course, the background, you have to think, if he's in the midbar, if he's in the wilderness of Yehuda, why is he in the wilderness of Yehuda? I mean, there are two possible options. The main option, running away from Shaul, is he did that a lot, of course, in his life. And we know that. We talked a few chapters ago. He was outside by the Zifim, outside the town of Zif, which is not far from Beit El, not far from Hebron, in that general vicinity. A second possibility could be when he's running away from Avshalom, but then he's not really in a specific place. But that one's possible also, especially sort of this idea of, I was close and I want to come back to what's kadosh. I want to come back to what's to your sanctified, your sacred places that we think about within the life of David. Yes, he didn't build the Mikdash, the Beit HaMikdash Yerushalayim, but he brought the Aron there. He brought Korbanot there. So it was still a place of sanctity to him. So that possibility of this being when he's running away from Avshalom also is possible. The idea of those seeking to destroy his life and entering the depths of the earth, that seems more like the former than the latter, because of course he doesn't want Avshalom to die when Avshalom is killed. Absolutely right, Avshalom, B'ni, Avshalom, he cries, Absalom, Absalom, as it's been translated by Faulkner. Yagiruhu al yedei charev minat shu'alim yiyu. May they be gutted by the sword, may they pray to the jackals. Right now, he's in a place where there are jackals. He's in the midbar. He's in a place where there isn't habitation, and therefore the animals are, in a sense, king. And so he wishes almost to switch places with them. I will say the comment that I've said many times. One of the things that's very important in Jewish life is, and said over and over again in the book of Tehillim, David is asking God to be his executioner. David's asking God to be the court to take it out. He doesn't say, I'm going to go and take revenge. I'm going to avenge these people who are trying to hurt me, who are trying to kill me. That is your job, God, not mine. The Hamelech Yismach be'Elohim yitalel kol hanishba bo ki yisacher pi dovrei sheker. But the king will rejoice in God, and all who stay with him, all who swear by him, will be able to speak in joy, and will be able to continue speak, as opposed to those who are liars, that their mouths will be quieted. We won't hear anything from them. And so here we have this is really a psalm about yearning for God, trying to come close to God. In the end, he sees that it seems to be expressing that part of the reason he can't be close to God is that he has these enemies who are out to get him. And because they're out to get him, he's distant, he's far away, he can't go back to where it's Kodesh, to where it's sacred, where the Aron is, or where. And so he's far and he's distant, but he has this desire, this great desire to be close to God, to be connected to God, and to really cling to God. Again, that word dveikut, which is according to Nachmanides and other mystics, is really ultimately what the Torah is and Judaism is all about, is this closeness to God that David feels he does not have right at this time, but certainly wants to get back to.